I've taken about a year-long break from this channel, and the main reason I did it is I feel like I was repeating myself and just saying the same things, and I didn't have enough experience in the real world. Now I've had a year, and I'm back at it. I've learned a bunch of new things, and one of the most important things that you can do to influence your social life and to greatly improve it, like socializing, dating, like any single relationship, is what I'm going to talk about in this video. So it's a super simple thing. You can implement it literally today. It takes zero time to practice or improve. It's not memorizing some stupid joke, and it will work like a dream. I guarantee you. For me personally, I've seen the biggest increase in my social skills, or at least one of the biggest from this one skill. So without further ado, let's get into it. What it is, it's basically removing the filter, completely removing the filter. And hear me out because it literally does bring you unlimited charisma. So you probably understand what I mean by the filter. So let's talk about why it works. Firstly, it levels up your humor. So if you have some stupid idea in your head that you think, oh, this is a bit dumb, just say it. Like I'll give you this one example. Some girl I was talking to, she said that she had like some weird accent, like she had an Australian accent for pretty much every single thing she said, except she had like a weird like American accent for like an A or some like weird words just sounded American. And I fully just like I said, oh, why do you have that accent? Oh, I don't know. Fully just said like you must have a parasite in your brain or something, and it sounds so stupid. And it probably is stupid, but it doesn't matter because it's not actually about what you say; it's about how you say it. And it got a really good reaction. She found it really funny. And so it's sort of again, it sounds really dumb, but and when I thought about it, I was like, no, that sounds stupid. But I said it anyway, and I had a good reaction because it's really not about what you say; it's about how you say it. And I'll come back to that point later. Secondly, just as another layer of humor, if you give your honest opinion, but like in a playful way, it also comes off as funny. Like if somebody like, I don't know, is wearing something and they say, oh, don't you reckon it looks good? It's like, no, it looks terrible. Like they can respect that you're being genuine, but it becomes funny because you're sort of saying the quiet part out loud, just sort of saying what you believe, and it sort of shocks them because humor is all about shock value. And when you break what they believe because they expect you to say, "Oh yeah, it looks great on you," it actually comes off as funny, provided you do it in the right way, obviously. Next, having no filter creates like clear boundaries and it drives respect. Like people literally seek your approval. I've had this happen to me several times. Like when they do something and I literally say like no, you've lost my respect for that. Like I don't respect that. That's bad. I'm like Loki, I'm judging you right now. And then they start to seek your approval, like, oh, like I'm really sorry, like, oh, I won't do it again. And it's good because number one, it gives you more respect. Number two, in their brain, it makes them think that they need your approval. So then they'll start to seek out your approval more, which again in their brain puts you at a higher position and puts value on your opinions, which is super good, obviously. Next, sort of related, it comes off as like dominant or whatever, which is a high testosterone trait. So if you're a male and you're watching this, obviously you want to have the perception of having that dominance. And so if you remove the filter and you say what you believe, you're confident in your opinions, you're not afraid, you have a backbone, like you'll again, like in the other point, you'll have the clear boundaries. You're the natural leader. Like if somebody asks, there's so many times I've been in a social circle and people say, "Oh, where do you want to go?" And everyone will just look at each other like, "Oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?" I'm sure you've been in the same thing. And so just to be able to say something simple like, well, I feel like doing this, let's go do this, you become the natural leader. You get to do what you want. People respect you more. It's just like a win win win. And then it's like a positive feedback loop. People start to ask you to call the shots. You'll feel more confident in calling the shots, etc. Next, it increases the value of anything positive you say because I'm sure you've met the type of guy that just it's like a people pleaser or a yes man and he'll just glaze whatever anyone says. Like, oh wow, you're so great, you're so like you know what I mean? Like there'll never be anything negative. And so if all you say is positive things or compliments, they lose their weight. But if you mix it up, then there's way more gravity to your actual positive compliments because the person can believe that it's it's genuine and you're not just trying to glaze them for free. So, for example, this one girl I knew, throughout the same, I don't know, month or so, at some point I said to her yo, like your shirt really matches your eyes. Did you do that on purpose? She was like, really receptive to it and like found it really funny and was like laughing, like embarrassed and like liked it. But at the same time, I fully said to her like, nah, those boots are not it, because like she fully rocked up with like some stupid like cowboy boots, and it was stupid. And so there's better reception of the compliment because not everything I say is compliments. Plus, there's that extra layer of humor from point one because I'm being honest about saying that those those look shit, right? Which is, yeah, it's like a double whammy. It's like two layers because not only does the positive compliments matter more, but also the negative ones come off as extra humor, which is also good. And lastly, this is quite important. This is a more of I guess, an internal thing, but your self-esteem will increase because now you realize your true personality is really good, whether, funny, attractive, interesting, etc. Because when you stop hiding all of your thoughts, your compliments, your beliefs, etc., and you just say them out loud and you get good reactions, you start to feel better about yourself because you realize that you're more interesting than you were letting the world figure out because you're getting better reactions than you used to. And it's your true personality. So now you feel more confident in yourself because you don't have to hide it away, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, and then that's another positive feedback loop because you have all these positive receptions, you start to feel better, you view yourself higher, you carry yourself with more confidence, which then makes what you say be perceived even better because you say it in like a confident way. Because you've probably seen this, but basically when you communicate with someone, only 7% of the communication is actually the words, whereas voice tone and body language makes up 93%. So if you say things in a confident and funny manner, it matters far more than what you actually say. Like the alien parasite thing from point one. Like it's a stupid thing. The 7% isn't that funny. It's like, what the fuck? Like that's such a stupid comment. But the 93%, it was delivered in a really funny way, which made it come across as funny because 93% has far more weight than 7%, obviously, right? Next is polarization. So this is the broader point. You should always be aiming to polarize people. So basically, what this entails is expressing your completely true, unapologetic, unfiltered self, such that you'll either drive someone to think, I really love this guy, he's amazing, I really want to get to know him better, or I fucking hate this guy, he's terrible, he's a dickhead, I don't want anything to do with him. And the reality is, both of these responses are good. Let me explain why. Too many people will act like an NPC and will just try to people please everyone and will just come off as passive or reserve their true personality or try to act like how other people act as a as a way of getting people to respect them or like them more. But what actually ends up happening is you become that guy that everyone knows, but no one actually likes. Like you think everyone will like you, but really no one likes you. Like you're just sort of that guy that hangs around, but you have no personality. It's nothing to you. You're just boring. You're just there, right? Whereas when you polarize people, you're sort of filtering through every single person that exists in the world, and you're finding your people. You're finding the people that work with you, that whose personality are congruent with your own, whose values are congruent with your own. And yeah, let me just put it like this. If you meet, let's say you're doing type one, you're trying to do the people pleaser personality. Even if you meet someone, you encounter someone who has the same values as you. If you're both doing this people pleasing NPC, hide your true beliefs and your true sense of humor, etc., you're never really going to bond nearly as tightly as you would, let's say, if you made that risky joke or you said your true opinion about something, you set some boundaries, and that person really respects you a hell of a lot more. You can grow a hell of a lot closer with someone if if you truly express that genuine personality and genuine beliefs from inside of you, right? And logically, in any relationship, whether friendships or dating, the goal should be to polarize as quickly as possible because that will be able to filter out who's worth investing time, right? Like, Of course, polarization, there are pros and cons. Like it will just enhance the magnitude of reactions you get. So the rejections are far more worse, frequent, and far more of a clear line. Like instead of drifting apart from someone, it'll be pretty clear if someone doesn't like you, right? But at the same time, the true successes are far more valuable, far more enjoyable, and far more life-giving, so to say. Like for example, a dating example for me is like when I'm being much more polarizing, bro, I can get left on scent like way more. Like usually it doesn't really happen, but I can get left on scent like a fair bit. But at the same time, I can also have situations where I can leave them on scent or on red or whatever, knowing that they'll start the conversation again. Like I don't need to force a reply, think about, oh, like what's something I can say. I can just leave it, and like within 12 hours they'll start the conversation again, and I'll just be able to sit back like, oh yeah, I don't need to say anything. I know they'll start it again, and they do. So of course, getting left on scent sucks, but being in the second scenario is super good. And you sort of can't have one without the other. You need to be in both. You need to be polarizing them in order to unlock type 2, but also you have to be willing to sacrifice type 1. And plus, as a broader point, do you really want to be investing your time, energy, etc. in a person in your life when you're in constant fear of driving them off? Such that like you hyper fixate on everything you say or do because this person isn't actually compatible with you as a friend, as a relationship, whatever. And so, like, does that make any sense? Like, why would you withhold your true personality and like walk on eggshells around someone in fear of driving them off from expressing your true beliefs, in fear of losing that relationship? Like, let me be real with you. If you have to control everything you say, the relationship wasn't there to begin with, as hard as it is. And you might have some friends who you have relationships with like that. But the reality is you're not truly friends if you can't even be your authentic self in front of them without fear of rejection or judgment or whatever, right? So get some new friends, man, and it's easy. People find it hard to make friends because they try to do the whole NPC behavior. But if you polarize and say what you believe, getting new friends is so easy. Just a couple caveats of this. So, firstly, don't conflate speaking your mind with broadcasting everything you're thinking all the time. So, you can there's a clear distinction between speaking what you believe and just constantly speaking, being obnoxious and like broadcasting your thoughts. Like being honest, contrarian, polarizing, etc. All of that drives respect. But constantly speaking, constantly yapping about whatever the hell's on your mind, it does the opposite. Like ironically, you actually come off as less confident, insecure, annoying, and just a bit much. Like you want to say a lot with few words. Let the other person do the talking, because that's what people enjoy. People enjoy talking more than they do listening. It's just a reality. Most of the time, your job is to get them to laugh and be excited to continue talking to you. And this is a really important point. So I'll say it again. Most of your time, when you're talking with anyone, the job is to get them to laugh and be excited to continue talking with you. For example, let's say you give 100 people. 50 of them might have the attention skills to be a listening ear, but fewer than 10 will have that edge that makes them fun to talk with, that will have this whole thing about, again, getting them to laugh and be excited to continue talking. Because I'm sure, obviously, it's nice to have someone listen to you, but you probably know there are two different people. You have the guy that listens and the guy that like listens and really you can feel that connection building through them listening to you. And that's that edge. And of course the edge is not a black and white thing, it's a spectrum. And so ideally you want to be like the 1 in 100 who is super, super good at this and you just become really magnetic in the conversations. And so basically what this entails is you're making what they tell you about themselves seem just better in whatever it is. If it's funny, exciting, dramatic, rebellious, whatever angle they're going for it, you really want to bring it out because you want them leaving thinking of themselves in a higher light. That's the goal. That's really key because essentially you're making them feel not only are you making them feel heard, which is what the 50 people are doing, but you're making them feel good about themselves and you're making them feel like they're more interesting than they originally thought they were. So you're boosting their own self-esteem, which is a super nice thing to have. It's like essentially you're complimenting someone, except you're not complimenting them. You're not forcing a compliment, and you're doing it with something they give you, so you know it's important to them. So it's pretty much like the highest form of like compliment you can give them, right? And then people like people that make them like themselves. If you make them like themselves, they'll love being around you because they feel better about themselves around you, right? So it's pretty. I don't know how the hell I thought about this, but it's pretty interesting. So I'm definitely going to talk more about this in the future. And another caveat is if it's someone that you must get to like you, like a boss or a teacher, then obviously you'll have to toe the line a little bit because saying the wrong thing can get you in trouble or make you lose opportunities. But I would still say, generally speaking, I don't know, this may not apply to you, but generally speaking, most people still have way more of a filter than is required to maintain these relationships. Like you can toe the line, but you don't need to be way under the line, right? Like you can toe the line, just don't cross it, right? Use a bit of common sense. So, this is a really interesting cycle. It's basically the whole idea of how it's like the loop of your actions, beliefs, etc. Basically, what happens? You have a belief. The belief influences your thoughts. The thoughts influences your behavior and actions. Those influence your results. Excuse me, and then your results will then reinforce or challenge that belief. So, for example, let's say you have the belief that, oh yeah, because why most people have the filter is like they think they're, let's say it's your sense of humor. You think your sense of humor is like shit. Like, oh yeah, I'm not funny. I have like a retarded sense of humor. That's your belief. Then your thoughts is when you come up with this joke, nah, they're not going to find it funny. Nah, it's a bit dumb. And so your behavior is either withholding those jokes slash actions is withholding those jokes or saying them in like a really weird way. You're like delivering them terribly. Like you're sort of like whispering it or making it come out like, oh, you might have a alien parasite. Like some dumb shit, you know what I mean? Like you just come off like a weirdo. And then that will then influence your results because the reception is very different if even if you say the same line in a good versus a bad way. So the person's looking at you, the girl's looking at you like, what the fuck are you on about, bro? Alien parasite? Instead of laughing, even though you said the same words, because you said it like an autist, which is crazy to think about. But again, communication is only 7% words. So it really is just about how you say it. And then that will reinforce your belief. That will be like, oh, well, I tried a joke and they didn't like it, therefore I'm not funny. When it's actually, no, I did it like a retard. I did it like an autist. And it's because I have zero confidence to begin with. So that could be true for your humor, if you're interesting, if you have charisma, etc. They all fall under the same cycle. So examine your life and figure out if you're doing this, if you're repeating this negative cycle in any way, which you probably are. I feel like everyone is to some degree. And your next steps, you need to build up the confidence that your true personality is actually worth experiencing. And so the way you can do that is through slow, repeated exposure. So just slowly, when you think of something, just express it more and more and more, because obviously you won't be able to turn it on overnight. If you do, I'm impressed. But the more you express your unfiltered self and the more you get a positive reaction, the more you influence this belief like, oh shit, I'm actually an interesting person, I'm a funny person, I'm a charismatic person. And then the more you express it again and again and so on and so on, and it becomes a really good positive feedback loop. And so the start is the hardest part because that's when the belief isn't there. That's when you don't have the results to back up the new belief, the new identity. Because you're trying to form this new identity of yourself as the interesting, charismatic, funny person, but you don't have the results to back up that identity. And so the way you act, it's always beliefs are always grounded on identity. They're always grounded on oh sorry, your identity is always grounded on results or proof. And when you don't have that proof, it's really, really hard to convince yourself a new identity. Slight tangent, but there's this really interesting book in psychology called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. I don't have it in my room, otherwise I'd show you. But it was written in like the 1960s by a plastic surgeon. And basically what he talks about is how some of his plastic surgery victims, like it was all patients with like facial disfigurements, let's just use a scar on the cheek. One lady could come in, get the scar on her cheek fixed, and be a completely changed person. She has way better relationships, people love her, and it makes sense. And she's like, oh yeah, because I'm more beautiful. But then you'll have another lady come in with a similar scar on her cheek. She'll get it fixed up, and her life is exactly the same. And that got him thinking, well, hold on. I thought, like, logically it would be these people look better, so they're treated better, and they don't have this insecurity. But really, these you can have two different people get the same thing fixed, but one of them really embraces it and the other one doesn't. So really, what's going on? It's psychological. It's not actually physical. And so then he sort of moved into psychology and he moved to treating patients psychologically because basically people have this identity that, oh yeah, I'm ugly. And so some of them change the identity when they change the face, but some of them don't. And you need to be the second type. You need to change the identity. Sorry, the first type, not the second type. You need to be the first type. You need to change the identity when you change the way you act. And the second really interesting thing about that book is the whole thing is grounded basically about creating a new identity for yourself. Like the main message of the book is everyone has something in their own belief system which limits them. Socially, relationship wise, like romantically, career wise, success wise, like people, for example, there was a salesman who viewed himself as a 5,000 per year bonus guy. So no matter if he was in a super easy selling area or a super difficult area to sell, like a poor, like a slums area, he'd earn the same $5,000 per year because psychologically he just he deserves $5,000. So he would never surpass or fall below it. He would just get around that same figure every year. And so the point of that is that it literally affects every area of your life. And I know I'm on a bit of a tangent, but it's reaching its completion. I'm coming back to this, the main point. You need to shift your identity, and what he talks about in the book is, yeah, the identity shift is the hardest part before you have the results. And so what you can do, this seems a bit silly, but just trust me, your brain can't tell the difference between like a vivid imagination and reality. Like for example, if you see if you're on a bushwalk and you see a bear, or if you see a man in a bear costume and you believe it's a bear, your brain is going to have the exact same reaction. Either way, you're gonna have all the your adrenaline going. You're going to sprint away. You're going to have like a crazy nervous reaction. You're going to get way more blood to your muscles. All of your non-essential systems, like your digestion, will be shut down. Like regardless of if it's actually a bear or if you think it's a bear. So in a similar thing, if you can get yourself to believe that you have these social skills, like vivid imagination, like literally hypnotize yourself or some shit, or like imagine vividly scenarios in which you're saying a joke and it lands, combined with practicing it and expressing it, combined with telling yourself that you are interesting, funny, etc., you will grow so quickly. And done this personally, so I know only like 1% of people are going to take this advice, but be one of those 1%. It's so beneficial to actually improve, right? And yeah, lastly, if you want to work one on one, let me know. We'll work something out. And yeah, it was good chatting. I hope this was interesting for you, and I'll catch you later.